why would you support bringing in millions of problems when you have Irish problems to solve?
Problems. Most people who come here as refugees are highly skilled.
Are they really?
Yeah, there are lots of doctors, nurses, engineers.
Are they really?
Yeah. A lot of them.
Really?
Yes.
In this park here, I met some of them. I didn't see any doctors or engineers.
You feel me? People go to the gym, fuck up, yeah? Fuck up, people, fuck, yeah?
To me, and it's not been racist or anything, but young men, if they saying they're coming from a war-torn country, they should be fighting for their country, not coming here. And they know that if they come here, that they'll get social welfare, that they'll get paid. They were getting paid every time they had to be moved on. They were getting 35, 40 euro. They're getting more money than the homeless in Ireland.
Dublin, Ireland is so pretty. It's amazing. There's so much history, gorgeous brick and stone buildings, churches. And one of the beautiful features of the downtown, of the inner city, is the Grand Canals. There's so many people who are just out for a walk or a jog or a bike ride. It's so peaceful here. Really a gem of the city. But you can see all around it is ugly fencing. You can really take a look at it on this side here. As soon as these cars cross, let's walk over. I want to show you what's all this fencing, this kind of riot control kind of fencing. It's to block off the green grass. Why would they do that? Isn't that the best part of these canals? Well, it's because hundreds of migrants camp here. They just set up tents and they live here and they eat and drink and do all sorts of other things that I won't describe. And it was becoming such not just an eyesore, but a danger to the neighborhood. Would you want to be a young woman going for a jog by yourself, passing by hundreds of foreign men who have a culturally different approach to a young woman out for a jog? And so, bowing to public pressure, the government finally removed the tents. But it's just atrocious what they've done, erecting these hideous fences. I mean, this is a lock. And look at this ancient bridge here. This is so beautiful. And then you've got these crowd control fences, but it's not really for a crowd. It's for hundreds of foreigners that used to turn this into, really an urban refugee camp. So they're gone, at least for now. But where are they? That answer is even more terrifying. See, when you had hundreds of migrants camped out here, you could see the problem. It wasn't hidden, and it caused stress and conflict because it was so obviously something was out of joint. But where are these same migrants? They haven't been deported. What's happening across Ireland is that hotels and community centers and nursing homes and institutional buildings have been commandeered by the government at very high prices in many cases to provide free housing to those migrants. So they're swept off the streets and into hotels. And, we were in the little village of Dundrum, a gorgeous 4-star hotel and country club, going to house hundreds of foreign migrants. In fact, so many that it'll be larger than the village population itself. Dundrum has about 200 people living there, and they're bringing in 280 military-age migrant men. So they're moving from this bizarre display, this shocking display of urban refugee tent camps, into a less visible way of housing the migrants. But it's still housing them. It's still displacing, for example, Irish homeless people or Irish people who need help with accommodation. It's driving up rent, of course. And in the case of Dundrum, it's utterly changing the character of the village. It's a lovely place. You can see so many people coming out for a walk. People by themselves, women, the elderly. I'm not sure how long that'll be the case. Right now, they only have this eyesores to look at, but it may revert to what we saw earlier. Here's a reminder of what it was like when I visited a few months ago. Well, where are you from?
It's not your fucking business.
Why is it not my business?
I'm from Dublin.
You're from Dublin?
Yeah. All right. Is
All
that
right.
good for you?
Sure.
Jim, fuck up, yeah?
I wonder if there's just men here, if there are women too. Can I talk to you on camera? Can I talk to you for a minute? Where are you from? He's shy, fair enough. He, it looks like he is going into one of the tents. I don't know where he's from. I have sympathy for the people in these tents, obviously. I would not want to be in one of these tents. One of the things I would ask them, if I encounter someone who's willing to talk and able to speak English, is, what were you promised? And how do you feel with your current situation? And how do you feel about hundreds of thousands more migrants being brought in? Hi, how are you guys? Do you guys live around here, or are you in these tents?
Can I ask you, please, don't film me, please. Yeah,
Okay.
possible, yeah? Don't film me.
Okay.
Excuse me, please. Are you gonna help these guys or no?
Well, I want
What's
to.
the point of filming them, please?
I want to know who they are
Yep.
and what they're doing.
Yeah. It's not your business, bro. If you're gonna give them some help, give them some help. Don't film me, man. I already told you that, yeah? Don't film me, bro. Don't film me, yeah? Public place, but don't film me, man. I'm telling you, yeah? I'm telling you, yeah? I'm telling you, yeah? Don't fucking film me, yeah? Fucking cunt.
What's your name?
I'm talking to this guy, yeah?
What's your name? Where are you from?
It's not your fucking business, man.
Well, why did you come up and talk to
So
us?
why are you filming people? Are you gonna give him help? Are you gonna help them, yeah?
Maybe.
Not maybe, yeah, not maybe. You just making like, what is it? You just wanna get your wages, man, you know? And you filming, yeah?
We want to know what's going on.
Well, go get a burger, yeah?
Well, there's a fellow who wasn't happy with us here. I don't think I'm in a position to help these folks, and I don't think that's my job. I think that's more the job of the Irish government. There's an angry fellow who, I don't know why he reacted that way. Perhaps he doesn't want attention being put on these people, but surely he can't think that this is good. In fact, I know he doesn't. He said, are we going to help them? I don't think that's for me to do. I think that's for the Irish government to do, the Irish people to do. Perhaps he thinks that we're going to be biased in some way. I don't feel like I have a bias, other than I suppose my instincts are there's only so much absorption that a country can have. Ireland is obviously being taxed, and I think Canada is too. You know, there was one fellow who said he was from Palestine. Could be. I don't think Ireland has taken anyone from Gaza. That may have just been a fashionable statement by the refugee. He was looking for a fight. Aggressive towards me, a man. I can only imagine how he would be aggressive towards women on this street. Hi there. Can we talk to you a little bit about what's going on around here? No? Where are you from? Well, where are you from?
It's not your fucking business.
Why is it not my business?
I'm from Dublin.
You're from Dublin?
Yeah. All right. Is
All
that
right.
good for you?
Sure.
Okay. Fuck off, man. Hey, bro. Instead of filming people, go to gym, man. You know, you filming people, go to gym. Fuck off, yeah? Fuck off, you motherfucker, yeah?
I don't know why Ireland is doing this. I don't have a good answer for that. Whenever I ask people why, they say it's to please globalists at the UN or the World Economic Forum. I find it strange that people would sell out their own country for the appeasement and favor of foreign oligarchs. Another answer that I find more credible is that it's just money. Follow the money. There's an industry that's cropped up around these refugees. So, for example, the people who own the hotels that are rented by the government, the people who are the social workers, the countless NGOs, they're all getting tens of thousands of dollars per migrant. The lawyers, those who cater to them, people who like to see housing prices go up and like to see wages go down, which is what happens when you bring in massive numbers of low-skilled workers. So I think that the answer is partly ideological, partly the woke critical race theory of Irish self-hatred, which has infected most Western countries. But I think at the end of the day, it's just plain old cash. enough people are willing to sell out Ireland for the cost of a hotel or a NGO program, that's how they're doing it. It's very strange to me. For all my reports from Ireland, go to migrantreports.com. It's so lovely here. I don't want to leave. It's so rustic, and hearing the sound of the little waterfalls on the locks, and it's so peaceful. This is one of the best places in Dublin. And yet along the sides, there were hundreds of tents with military-age migrant men. So you can see they put these fences to keep them out. They've come back and then they shoot away, come back, shoot away about 5 times. Anyway, I talked to a couple of people because there's so many people just going for a walk or a bike ride. It's the kind of place where you might go for a date and then sit down on a little park bench. And it's notable how many young women are along this path. And I mention that because when you have hundreds of military-age migrant men camping out here, it changes the safety dynamic. And here's 2 Irish people who stopped to talk to me as they were walking their dogs.
Hi.
It looks like you're collecting some leaves.
Yeah, because my 6-year-old friend is coming for pizza later, so she's very artistic. So we just to play with her. Yeah, but it also makes me notice the beauty. Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful here. The sound of the rushing water. You've got some doggies with you.
Jack Russells, yeah.
Can I ask you about these fences around here? We were here a few months ago and there were lots of tents with migrants. And I understand that they come and then they're kicked out and then they come back and they're kicked out. What do you make of that whole thing?
I guess it's complicated. My understanding is our government decided to stop providing housing for male refugees. So the council gives them a tent. But then the council blocks anywhere that they could put the tent.
They just moved on. Some of them have been rehoused and moved up to Tallaght and that. So they just keep coming back here, you see, because the IPW is around the corner in Mount Street. So that's why they come here. But
so they come and then they're cleared out and then they come back again?
Cleared and come back again. And
are you in the neighborhood here?
Yeah, I live in the neighborhood, yeah.
So how often have they been cleared out and come back? How many times has that happened now?
About 5 times.
And this is such a beautiful canal, and
we're trying to get the fences taken down now.
But of course, if the fences are taken down, maybe the tents come back.
They have security on it now.
So they have security.
They have security here now to stop them coming back. So that goes up and down every day. So hopefully this will be an end to it, Do you
think they're real refugees, or do you think some of them might be taking advantage of Irish hospitality?
I don't think anybody would do that for a laugh or to take advantage of. We know they're coming from areas of the world that are either war-torn or have civil conflict, or else they're, I guess, some of them now even, if they are economic migrants, it's because the global north has caused climate chaos and people can't make a living where they are. And
so you think climate change is why they're here?
No, I think I think we're playing out because of the reality that we put up 8 Hiroshima bombs worth of energy per second into our atmosphere. It's big changes coming, like that will lead to civil unrest and about a third of humanity outside livable zones. And so I think Fortress Europe is preparing itself to make sacrifice zones. So we're just closing our doors, I guess.
I saw in the papers that the Irish government is boasting that they handed out 775,000 passports so far this year. Now, some of those are Irish, but it sounds like immigration is still going full tilt.
Oh, it is. It's going full tilt.
Why? I don't understand that part.
Because the government are useless.
Well, but surely if a party wanted to get votes, they would be opposed to this, because I think most Irish think things are a little out of control. Why are all the parties the same on this issue?
They're all the same. They're all linked in with Europe.
So that's what it is?
Yeah, they're just bleeding puppies on a string, been told what to do.
By whom? By the UN? By the World Economic Forum? Who's the boss?
European Union.
Ireland's never oppressed anyone, so why is Ireland, a tiny country, the only place for... There are no other islands for the Irish. If Ireland's not there, I don't know. Like, it's the only place where Ireland... for the Irish. And why is Ireland the place where so many migrants can come, and some of them burn their or throw out their documents when they arrive? That doesn't seem like a good faith move. I just wonder if you're being a little bit, I don't mean to criticize, but you sound credulous.
What was credulous means believable.
Sounds like perhaps you're the kind of person that someone from a low trust society might take advantage of. You look like a lovely high trust society, a wonderful woman who's collecting beautiful things. I don't mean to be mean, but I think someone might take advantage of you.
Well, I'm not, I guess I consider myself to have a lot of privilege. I'm not worried about being taken advantage of. I'd happily pay more tax if the tax went to not funding fossil fuels and arms, but to creating a safe haven from people fleeing injustice.
Are you worried that if you criticize immigration, someone's going to call you racist? Because that's what happens in Canada sometimes.
No, I'm not racist. I know the people need somewhere to live, and I won't say the majority, but a lot of them that are here, like they need it, you know, like the likes of Ukrainians and things like that.
But
all these young people coming over.
But there's 8 billion people in the world, and my guess is that half of them would love to come to this beautiful place if they could, but you can't fit 4 billion people in Ireland. You can't fit 4 million more.
You can. Ireland had 8 million before the Great Hunger or Famine.
So do you think maybe we could take... So maybe a few million more people from Pakistan and Somalia and...
I mean, I think the narrative around migration is incorrect. People aren't made aware that there's always been movement of migration. We migrated out of Africa to fill the planet.
I thought Ireland...
Yes, and then only since the nation state has there been some notion of, which is only in 19th century phenomenon, has there been some notion of like us and them.
But the Irish have had us and them. The Irish have been throwing off occupiers and oppressors for centuries.
Exactly. So the Irish have had to take refuge. There are about 40 million people around the globe who claim to have Irish origin, and they were people who had to leave because of oppression. So I think that's why you find many people identify so well with the Palestinians.
Oh, it's totally different because we don't know where they're from. They're not vetted. There was a stage at one time, like 2 of them were wanted in another country for crimes. And they were living on this canal, you know what I mean? So
there's a lot of young women jogging by and biking by. I mean, obviously it's very, very safe right now, but I've got to think it wasn't particularly safe when it was hundreds of migrant men.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't safe with them all there. As I say, it was all men, and it was all young men. And to me, and it's not been racist or anything, but young men, if they saying they're coming from a war-torn country, they should be fighting for their country, not coming here. And they know that if they come here, that they'll get social welfare, that they'll get paid. They were getting paid every time they had to be moved on. They were getting 35, 40 euro. They're getting more money than the homeless in Ireland.
And we're the only white nation in Europe who haven't been a colonial power. And yet we are...
But you have a tremendous feeling of guilt about you. You're self-abnegating. Maybe things are too good for you, so you're looking for sort of luxury worries. I mean, you look like a lovely woman in a lovely place, and maybe your life is so stress-free that you're importing it as a sign of good taste.
I run a crisis community mental health team. My life is not stress-free.
Why are you bringing in, why would you support bringing in millions of problems when you have Irish problems to solve?
Problems. Most people who come here as refugees are highly skilled.
Are they really?
Yeah, there are lots of doctors, nurses, engineers.
Are they really?
Yeah. A lot of them.
Really?
Yes.
In this park here, I met some of them. I didn't see any doctors or engineers.
It's all Fianna Gael, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. Like, they're just, you know, like, as I say, they're puppets, and they'll do anything to keep any other government out. And that's the way it's going. Like, they're stirring up trouble now against Sinn Féin because people thought Sinn Féin might get the vote, but now there seems to be trouble in Sinn Féin. So it's, it's a big catch-22 situation, I
was in Newtown, Mount Kennedy. I saw a lot of people who walked across the border from Northern Ireland, destroying their paperwork. Their very first act on Irish soil was to break the law. Doesn't sound like a doctor or a lawyer.
Well, some doctors and lawyers.
Do you know a single doctor or lawyer who's been encamped here?
I know. I have friends who had come from Romania who were doctors and engineers, and they weren't allowed to practice because their qualifications weren't. And in Ireland, because of direct provision, people aren't allowed to work, so they're not allowed to contribute to the community. But any place in the world where you have allowed that, refugees and people from poorer countries than us do all of the jobs that Irish people are unprepared to do, such as care of the elderly. They work a lot in social care, in nursing.
What do you do or what don't you do? As I say, Ireland and the majority of people in Ireland have no problem helping out refugees. But asylum seekers are the different thing,
Are there a lot of single military-age migrant men who are nurses or in care in doing?
But that isn't that the narrative. Let's not call them victims. Let's not call them people with PTSD. Let's not call them people who've had to leave their families if they don't want to go killing in a war. They're called cowards if they leave the war area, and they're called terrorists if they stay. So there's no win for them. But this has been a far right shift. We're dehumanizing men.
In a couple of weeks, there's going to be an election in the United States, and Donald Trump has said he's considering mass deportations of migrants. If he wins, do you think that might normalize mass deportations, and do you think maybe the idea might catch on in other places?
Well, I don't know. Not an awful lot of people. Personally, I don't know the man. I think he's all right, actually, The fact that everyone is against him makes me feel he's probably doing right.
If it was your brother or son who was in a war conflict area, wouldn't you want them in a place of safety?
You have such a big heart.
Yeah, but we all are one. If we
But are we though?
We are. That's the only thing that's going to get us out of the kind of global interconnected crisis, is to see our common humanity.
I think
I welcome them, but I think we don't treat them well when they come.
But do you really welcome them? I mean, do you welcome them in any personal way, or have you taken a migrant into your house?
No, but I do go along.
So you welcome them for in the streets or someone else's house?
Well, I don't have a situation right now because of family health where I can take people into my house.
I've never heard.
I do go out with food with friends to provide. When they were up near Charlemont, I have two friends who are Malaysians who live in Ireland, and they were doing food distribution. So anyway, I think we're wealthy and we have a very short memory when we realize only in the 80s we made movies and celebrated Irish economic refugees with fake green cards going to America because there were no opportunities in Ireland. And we thought it was a good idea for them to cheat and get to America. So we forget that so I would rather that view of rather than block everybody out in case one guy is a cheater. I was raised as a Christian. My understanding is that God would say, bring them all in rather than risk.
But just not into your own home.
I would take one into my own home.
Really?
And I had my first cousin took a lovely guy called Hajar out when he came out of direct provision into our house. And his new girlfriend is now minding her house for a month because he got engaged, and he had been stuck on a ship for 3 years until the Irish police boarded the ship and got him off to safety. And he's from Syria. So I would be totally up for that.
I would love to have you as a neighbor. You have such a warm heart, but I would be terrified of who you would let into the neighborhood. I think that you are a very trusting person, and you would leave your door unlocked, and that would work until it didn't.
Yeah, but I'd rather stay open and vulnerable and then shut down.
I pray that the consequences of your big heart never are wrought up.
I don't mind being hurt. I can deal with that.
Well,
I don't
but-
want to like become bitter and weird and twisted. So
But
I stay open to suffering.
it's a pleasure talking with you, although you make me sad and worried.
Okay. Take good care, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you both.
To follow all of our reports and to chip into our crowd-funded journalism, please go to migrantreports.com.